Good. It's good to see faces to go with the names. I recognize some names and I don't recognize some names. So Carrie, I'm going to turn it over to you to sort of kick us off. Rachel will be pulling up some questions from Facebook, but you may have some also that we need to deal with that you've already talked about. Oh, we've got Lori. Hey, Lori. Good. It's good to see faces to go with the names. I recognize some names and I don't recognize some names. Oh, well, that's a delay. So Carrie, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right, we are live on YouTube tonight.
You to sort of kick us off. Rachel, how are you going to do that, Carrie? So what you just experienced was Carrie's broadcast delay. And Carrie was going to say something, but I don't think Carrie can say too much because if she does, we'll hear me talking like a minute ago.
Okay, so I fixed that problem. It's been a while since we've been on YouTube, it seems like. Okay, now to find the question I was going to ask at the beginning. Let's see. Oh, where are my questions?
Well, I know Bonnie had one. Should we go ahead and give Bonnie a kickoff here? Because I saw she put something in chat. So Bonnie, do you want to say out loud what you were asking in chat? Sound like you had two questions.
Yes, I do. My first question is, Teepa, my mom cries every time I go to see her and I'm getting ready to leave. I took her to the beach for a couple days. I took her home. She cries when I start to go. Even if I go up just for a day to visit and it's time to go, she begins to cry. And she thinks I don't understand. I do understand. I say everything I can think of to try to let my mom know. I'll call her when I get on the road. I'll call you when I get home. She expects me to stay for a couple days. What do I do when my mom starts crying?
Okay, so tell me a little bit of, tell me what you say to her when you're preparing to depart. What do you say to her?
Well,
how do you start it?
Well, Mom, I got to go now. It's time for me to get back home. I've got to get back home and get dinner.
Okay.
I've got things to do because I'm also caring for a husband with cancer.
Gotcha.
So I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard spot
here.
Yeah.
So here's one of the things that we want to think about. Where would your mom like to be?
Well,
if she had her druthers, who would she like to be with?
I think she's most comfortable at home, but
yes. So where did you tell her you were going?
Going back to my house, going back home.
No, that's not what you said. You said, I'm going home.
I'm going home, yeah.
And your mom, home, two different homes, same home for her. Okay. So when you say I'm going home and she has to stay, it feels like an abandonment. Okay. And that you don't want her with you. So, ooh, so I want you to practice this phrase. Go, ooh.
Oh.
But first you look at your watch and you go, oh, geez.
Oh, geez.
I've got to get to the store. I've got a couple things I've got to pick up.
Okay. Oh, geez. I got to get to the store. I got a couple things I got to pick up.
What can I bring you?
What can I bring you?
Something sweet or something else?
You want something sweet or some ice cream or something else?
I want ice cream.
Okay.
Vanilla or what's her favorite flavor?
Do you want vanilla or do you want strawberry?
I'll do strawberry. Okay, I'll pick you up strawberry and I'll bring it the next time when I'm back. I'll bring it when I come back.
Okay, I'll pick you up some strawberry ice cream and I will bring it when I come back.
There you go. What didn't you say this time?
That I was going home.
What else didn't you do?
I've got to go now.
What else didn't you do?
I guess I didn't tell her I was leaving her. I pretended like I was going to run an errand instead.
Okay, so do you have some errands you can actually run on your way home?
Yeah, sure.
Because I don't like to tell people to lie. Right. So what I'd like you to do though is refocus where you're going, that you're going, oh, geez, I've got to get going. I got to get to the store. What can I bring you? So what does that say? What can I bring you when I come back? What can I bring?
It tells her that I'm coming back.
Right. And are you getting to go home? Have you said anything about you get to go home?
No.
Have you told her that you get it? You're really sorry you have to leave her, but it just is the way it is?
Well, you know, I've probably been to all those places. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a different framing. It's ooh, and the ooh signifies, oh, I just realized something. So it's a
Okay.
sudden recognition, which helps her transition from being with you to not being with you, but it is not leave taking.
I see.
She's in a place in her dementia that leave taking, as soon as I'm losing something I value,
Yes.
why are you going? Just, I want to go. Can I go, please?
Right.
Please. And there's no volume control on the emotion.
Right.
So once she starts it, it's full volume. It's like
Right.
somebody turned the sound bar all the way up and there's no way to get it back down.
Okay.
So we want to do a ooh surprise, ooh, because that's less stressful. And then I got to run to the store. What can I get you? In other words, I'm in a deep relationship. I'm going to the store and I will get you something because we have this relationship.
But won't she think I'm coming straight back? Because she'll say,
Right.
"Oh, I don't
Here's
need
the
anything."
reality. Yeah,
Sorry.
here's the thing. How does she keep up with time? How good is she at keeping up with time?
Well, if she thinks I'm going to run an errand, then she will pretty much figure I'm going to go get the ice cream and bring it straight back.
Okay, so you say, what you do is you have them say, Mom, I had to go. John isn't doing, I need to get home to John. They say
Yeah.
that to her, not you.
Right.
It's going to be better from a third party than from you. Why?
Yeah.
Why would that be better from a third party than you, do you think, or your mom?
Well, because, you know, it's not my fault that I have to go with.
Right,
It's you know, now she knows my husband is very ill. She knows
right.
that. And
Yeah.
she knows that my mother gets hurt,
Yeah.
that I can't take care of her and take care of him. She's
Right.
been supportive, but it's always crying when it's time to go.
Why have the staff be the ones that say it to her?
The staff.
Uh-huh. Why have a staff member tell her that they just heard from you and you need to get home to your husband, and so you will bring it next time you come?
Okay. I understand.
Why have a staff member do it though?
Because you let them be the bad guy.
Exactly. What else? There's one more reason it's really important. Look in the mirror. Tell me what's really important.
I don't know.
Are you having to watch your mom cry?
Oh, yeah.
Are you then? Do you need that to end every time you're with her, you need to end with her in tears? How does that work for you?
It's not working for me at all.
Yeah, so let's not do it. Let's
Right.
not do that because it hurts you, it hurts her, and it doesn't solve anything. So
Yeah.
let's try a new strategy that gives her a place. And if she cries with the staff, they can give her a hug and say, I hate it too.
Yeah.
So hard. She has a lot, and I know she loves you. They can say, I know she loves you, and it's hard. I think it's really hard for her not to be able to come back when she wants.
Okay.
But you need maybe a little distance, Bonnie. Does that sound fair?
Well, you know, I worry about her night and day, and I don't
I know
like to
you
leave
do.
her, and I can't stand to see my mother cry. And
Yeah, exactly. So yeah,
I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. If I bring her with me, then I've got a whole new
time
set of
out.
craziness.
Time out, Bonnie. Time out.
Yeah.
This is a big timeout. What we want her to do is land on a more positive note
Yeah.
and let staff comfort her a little bit so you can take a breather and she can too. Part of the hard part is leave taking from you. But if you're just going to go to the store and come back and then you get tied up, she got tied up, she'll be back as soon as she can. Maybe they might even try that. She got tied up, but I know she'll be back as soon as she can.
Well, she lives alone, Teepa. So when I leave
There's
her,
no
I'm leaving
staff
her
member?
alone.
Ooh.
She has a caregiver that comes in 4 hours a day, but that's all
And
she
they,
has right now.
wow. Oh, well, that's not good. That was a bad advice because you don't have staff, huh?
No.
What if you had somebody there when you are leaving? What can you arrange the hours? No.
Well, I could work on it, you know, that the caregiver's there for 4 hours a day. When I go to see her, I could try to arrange to be there when the caregiver's there, but that doesn't always coincide.
See if you can arrange it a couple times and see what difference it makes.
Okay.
Because I think that's a starting place. I think her being alone and you leaving her alone is not a good combo for you.
Right. Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah. So let's change that dynamic and give you a place to go that isn't home and see what that does. Those two pieces, and see what that does for the two of you.
Okay. Does it help to tell her I'm coming back? I will be back, because I don't think she'll say this. I might not see you again. She'll begin to get that scared.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm going to be back. I just need to go get some things and do some things. And I am coming back, Mom. I am coming back. I love you.
Yep.
And then see whether or not the care partner could get her engaged in something, or she may need to let her cry a little bit. You know, it's okay for her to cry. It is sad that your daughter can't be with you, but you don't need to experience that sadness every single time you leave take.
Yeah.
That's hard because you got too many sads going on.
It's true. Thank you.
Yeah, too many sads. Cool. All right. All right, what else we got cooking out there?
Teepa, we have two people that have asked questions referring to frontotemporal dementia.
Okay.
And they're both having to do with memory care in a facility. So they're wondering, one person has very high fall risk and continues to want to move around, and she frequently requests to go to the toilet. She has minimal speech and has a history of verbal aggression. And I'm not sure if that's referring to the same person or a different one, but working in a memory care unit with a resident who has frontotemporal dementia, and she's trying to give the staff the skills to use because her behavior is causing more issues for staff than other residents.
Yeah. So frontotemporal dementia, particularly with either a frontal variant, which means the front of the brain is taking the primary brunt of the dementia, or a primary progressive aphasia, an aphasia which robs people of speech and or comprehension, or both. And those combinations are some of the most devastating for relationships and for appreciating each other, because the prefrontal cortex is the part of your brain that allows you to be able to see another person's point of view and to be motivated to do things. Otherwise, you're driven to do things, but not motivated to do things. Sequencing is going to be an issue, and appreciating that when you're done with something, you should go on and do something else. You don't need to go back to the thing you've been doing. And typically in dementias, other than frontotemporal, we don't get stuck in those loops or skipping those loops so quickly and so readily without having some significant memory lapses. So the memory thing is more of a wayfinding and or a time awareness thing more than memory initially, often with the FTD situation. So what we have in the first situation is a woman who, the person who brought that one up, when we talk about verbal aggression, can you either describe it to me or give me more details? Because verbal gestion isn't necessarily verbal aggression. It's no volume control and echolalia in combination with a flattened affect. So it sounds like I'm versus go to hell, get your hands off me, I'll break your damn arm. That's verbal reactive of somebody trying to provide assistance or help for someone who's not getting what they're giving and doesn't want it. And that's a very different scenario. So I want to make sure that I'm responding to what's actually happening for somebody.
Yeah, I think it's just this lady's only just come in to us a few days ago and has already been back in hospital from a fall. Information is just coming from her ACAT assessment with information from the husband saying she's frequently verbally aggressive. She does have echolalia though, that's written in her notes.
Yeah.
and occasionally physical outbursts as well.
Okay. So we have somebody who is incredibly limited in language and doesn't frequently understand most of what we're trying to do for her or around her. And so her distress gets really high really quickly because we know the sequence of events and her brain isn't quite able to pick up on that. Added to which her balance and coordination is impaired, and so is her fine motor skill in her hands and in her eyes, more than likely. So her ability to see 3D is very likely not working. And so her hands become these tools to try to scope out and figure out things, but she's sort of not very skillful. And so they often flail or move in larger patterns and fairly strong. And so what can happen is it looks like she's really being aggressive, and what she's truly doing is doing the same thing with her upper body that she's trying to do with her lower, which is move around, but not really being sensitive to joint position and where she is exactly in space, which with the number of falls you're describing, Kathy, I suspect she doesn't have a really good sense of her body and where it is compared to gravity.
Yeah, that's definitely, yeah.
But she's pretty much a risk taker. I mean, she's not a risk adverse person where she goes, oh my God, I might fall. No, 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 no. She's not hunkering down in a chair. Please, no, 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 which can be the other extreme where I don't want to be moved because I'm fearful of falling. She has no apparent fear of falling, but no skill at maintaining balance. And so a lot of this upper body and full body movement is more than likely due to some issues. So this is where our hand under hand support and strategy bilateral can come into play, because it can provide some stability, but it has to be somebody that's very comfortable moving with movement. And so Rachel's going to give you a demo because she happens to have a mom right there. And so what she's doing, good job. Thanks, guys. And Carrie, can you make her speaker view so people can see a little more readily? You got it, or not quite yet? Okay, there we go. So Rachel, go ahead and do the first. So if you can, move around a little bit. And Rachel, I want you to come in and get that first hand grasp. So now notice Rachel moved with her mom for that first one. She doesn't try to restrict or restrain the movement, but as soon as she gets that first one, she'll reach under the elbow and go for that second hand. And now as soon as she's there. And then she tightens in the hip, tighten it in. And she's a little diagonal to her mom. Her feet have a broad base down there. So what she can do is stabilize. So she is creating this stable support surface. And so now they're going to rock as they walk, and they will sort of do this rhythm motion going, yeah, we're going to go, we're going to go, we're going to go, we're going, we're going, we're going, we're going. So you take that disorganized movement and you center it and you stabilize it and you get it to go. And Rachel always has to have that broad base because she's got to be ready for a flail. And now a second person, if possible, will be the person to do the clothing, because you don't want to be letting go of the stability, because if you don't have stability, she will start doing her thing again. And so what we need someone to help with clothing. And Rachel is the communicator. So she turns and she says, pulling them down. We're pulling them down. You're pulling them down. We're going to pull them down.
Push.
Down.
There you go. Push. There you
Good.
go.
Good.
Stand up.
Nice job. Nice job. And the other person is literally the fingers in the act. And they're off to the side, not making comment, because they're simply following through on what Rachel is doing. So notice Rachel is getting her mom to actually go through these motions. This is not doing to her, it's doing with her, though neither one of them can let go of each other to do the skilled movement with their hands, or we'll have a fall. And we also don't have, so if Rachel's mom starts moving that arm around, Rachel will move her arm around. So she's gonna move with it and move with it and move with it and not fight it. You don't fight it, you go with it, and then it quits because there's no resistance. It's when you give resistance that then it really get your, because it feels like you're fighting with me. And here it's stabilizing. How does that, thank you, Rachel, you guys did great. How does that sound to you, Kathy? Does that look?
Yep. Yep, it's definitely something we can try with her anyway. Yep.
Yeah, because FTD, by the time folks have often tried everything they can at home and they finally get to a place of, I simply can't do this anymore. The person, unfortunately, living with dementia has not been used to anyone else around them other than that care provider before. And now all of a sudden we're introducing a whole bunch of people. Holy moly. And it gets really overwhelming for somebody who doesn't have language skills, because our strategy is to run our mouths.
And she's only 65 too.
How much?
65.
65. She's very young. Yeah, that's young onset. It's the most common form of young onset dementia that we've got going. And she's scared crapless. I mean, that's one of the problems is when she goes to the bathroom, she's scared. So even when she goes, she can't go, because your bladder, when you get scared, your ureter, it says, no, don't put it out there. It's too risky. So she may actually have to go, but when she gets really terrified and scared of moving, then it's not very effective. So cool. The other one, Rachel, or no, who was that asked that? Who asked the other frontal?
Is it
There were
Melissa?
2 people who asked frontotemporal.
Yeah, who was the other? What was the
Melissa,
other?
I think.
Yeah, that was me. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You can?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Oh,
My,
there you are. Now I see you.
yeah.
I was like, I'm
Right.
looking everywhere. I know she's here. So
I work in a memory care unit, and we have a specific resident. I think she's the only one in there who has this frontotemporal. Very independent. She's also young. She just turned 70. Extremely independent. She has her own room. She is pretty much sending staff over the edge, and I'm trying to do more work with staff than I am actually with her, and I am grasping at straws to get them. She is going in and out of every resident's room. She used to be a nurse for her whole life. So she goes, right. So we're dealing with her transferring other residents, going in and out of their rooms, making sure everybody has toilet paper, cleaning up everybody's stuff. That she's a nurse.
yes,
And so I am trying to utilize those skills so that she feels, because this is her only comprehension. All I'm trying to do is help, and people are only getting mad at me.
yeah. And she really, that's been her whole life, is nursing. That's what had her value. So
Right.
has she ever been a supervisor, or was she always a hands-on nurse?
Both.
I wonder, have you tried a clipboard approach
No.
where I need you to help me check and see whether people are doing what they're supposed to be doing. I need us to do some chart stuff. I need us to do I need your help. I need to check and see whether toilet paper has been changed. Come with me. We're going to check the rooms and check on toilet paper. And we have to mark it down. Now, they need to change it, because doing their jobs for them is not the answer. So she
Right.
becomes a supervisor with someone. So we need somebody more in a lab coat,
Right.
a physician with a stethoscope, that she's the nurse that goes with the physician, rather than she's the nurse that does the care.
Okay. So here's the kickback that I'm getting from staff.
Yep.
Because I have tried this approach of, you know, guys, because she's also very much, it's very difficult to tell her, to include her like, hey, why don't you come help me? Because it's going to be her list. It's not going to be my list that I give her. It's got to, you know, she's going to do what she's going to do. So staff are continually, stop doing that. You're not, you know, you're not allowed to do that. You know, it's not okay. And because she responds to them and says, okay, they can't get it that just because she can respond doesn't mean she understands.
So she's got,
she responds, they think she understands, and then she goes and does it again.
right, yeah.
Yeah, it's fresh. It is the biggest thing right now on the unit.
Okay, so hey, Melissa, could
Yes.
you, I know you have things to do. Come help me. Can you come help me for a few seconds? Come here. I need, so if you could help them, maybe give her something to do rather than trying to not get her to do something. So reframe that. So it's, oh, Melissa, I know you're busy. I know you're busy. I need help for a minute. Come here. Come here. And then have her do the thing that, you know, toilet paper, whatever it is. And,
Right.
and the tricky part is she cares about helping people more than doing things. Though she'll do things, she likes helping people.
Yes. Yes.
So
And
maybe,
she is now literally, she's mimicking every step that staff. So if staff are cleaning up after, you know, a meal,
copying.
that's what she's doing now.
What
If
she
they're
can do.
what and
Yeah, she's
Right.
copying
and
visually.
there's one. So there's one particular. Yes. Yes. And there's one particular resident that is also does not have frontotemporal, is very independent, pretty early onset, just dementia, and it's making this resident super angry that you know she is going into people's rooms, and so they're literally they're now shoving each other, hitting each other. So, but I like that. I like that. I hadn't thought about that, interrupting. Hey, could you come help me do, I know you're doing such and, because it acknowledges that she is doing something helpful.
Yes.
Okay.
And
So I intervened. Yeah. So I intervened in, I watched her push a wheelchair up to the couch because she's going to transfer this resident onto the couch, right? And I have a staff member running up, you know, of course, running up, right? And so I quickly went over and I just put my hand up to the staff and I said, I just want you to watch. I'm not even knowing if I was doing this right or wrong. And I looked at Josie. So I looked at the resident and I said, oh my gosh, thank you so much for attending to her needs. You knew she wanted to come over and get on the couch. I so appreciate that. And then I immediately went in to transfer the resident. Josie was happy. I was happy that, you know, it was a safe transfer. And I looked at the staff and I said, we're looking for win-win. Josie got to feel good about herself. I got to do a safe transfer.
You got it.
Okay.
So
All right.
when they're moving up, say pause. I want you to pause, watch me, which was good. Now to complete that cycle, Melissa, could you go back to them and say, what did you notice we did? What did we do? What did I do? Okay, I'm going to be Josie and I want you to do it with me. So do a mini training cycle after so you see that they get it. You want them to enact what you just did so you can transfer that knowledge to them a little bit better. Let them try it.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm just talking, and I'm like, they're not getting it.
Yeah, and you are. Because you did a nice role play, and now what you want to do, same thing that I did earlier, talk me through it. Go ahead and try it. You do it with me. So I'll be the resident, I'll be Josie, and you do it with me. So I'm going to push the wheelchair up and you're going to say, thank you, that's perfect. So they get to rehearse the skill.
Love it.
Yeah, because you did have great instinct. That was great instinct. Perfect.
All right, that's a lifesaver for us.
Okay, so let's say Beth and I are the two ladies. I've got FTD and Beth has normal, quote unquote, the more typical dementia. And I'm gonna go in her room and get this. And Beth is going to say, that's not your room.
Hey.
You need to not go in there.
Hey, that's not your room. That's not your room. Hey, get the hell out of there.
This is my, so.
She does this every day. This is ridiculous.
There we go. So Melissa.
That's exactly to a T what I deal with every day, multiple times in a 12-hour shift. Yeah, the whole time.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is when you have two diamonds, because you got two shiny diamonds here, they both
Right.
know exactly what they're supposed to be doing. How many people will you need to help these two shiny diamonds who are going at each other?
Two?
Two. One for each.
Yeah.
You can't
Right.
split yourself between the two. It won't work. Each diamond needs a shiner. Each diamond person, we need somebody to shine them up. So one person is going, oh my gosh, Beth, that is just ridiculous. I am so sorry she's doing that. The other person is
sorry.
I know it doesn't seem right. She shouldn't be doing that. The other person is with Teepa going, I am so sorry she's yelling at you. You're just trying to get your job done. I mean, it's so frustrating. Sometimes people think they know what they're doing because each diamond thinks they're absolutely right and each one is, but they can't see the other one's point of view, which is causing that conflict. So who is your best staff to partner with to try it? Who can work with the typical dementia? That's usually a little easier than your frontal.
Right.
Most people, they're more familiar.
Right. So the biggest question I get from staff when I try that approach of, we need to meet them where they're at. And so when it comes to Josie, the one who's doing all the going in and out and this, that is, when I meet her where she's at and say things like that, like, oh, thank you so much, staff yell at me, basically, and they're like, you're just giving her permission. You're just reaffirming that behavior, Melissa, and it's just going to keep going.
So have we been successful at getting it stopped with your strategy of yelling at her?
Oh, good response.
I mean, has it gotten better with yelling at her to stop?
Right.
No,
right.
I mean, she's going into rooms and so she thinks it's her job, I think. So what we want to try is to affirm that's her job. Thank you so much. Listen, I have a favor to ask of you. Come here. And we redirect it versus try to stop it. So maybe asking them, has it gotten better by telling her not to do it? It seems like that's not changing it.
Right. Right. Yeah, exactly. I love it.
Obvious, sort of like, is that better? Because it doesn't feel like it to me, but maybe I'm missing something. It doesn't seem like it's getting any better when we're telling her to stop.
Right.
I don't think she can. I mean, and I think that's actually accurate. She can't not do it. She has to have a job. If we want to give her jobs, she'll do it, but you have to redirect it carefully because she's been a nurse. Dear Lord, they're stubborn as crap.
Yeah.
You are one.
Yeah.
I know some of you are on here. You know who you are.
Right. Thank you so much. Beautiful.
Good questions.
Hey, Teepa, I have an interesting one that might cover something a lot of people deal with. So this is from a daughter in Ohio. And she says, my dad has no short-term memory He's fighting over keys. We end up taking him in the car for a ride. We get back after an hour of his verbal abuse. Finally, he's calm. We come home, and within 5 minutes, he's looking for his keys again, aggressive and agitated. He has walked off in the middle of these episodes if we can't do what he wants right then. How do you redirect this situation? He is even getting up in the middle of the night wanting to drive around.
Okay. So let's sort of break this down a little bit. So how powerful what is driving? When does driving happen for most of us? When do we become drivers? About what age?
Young adult, 16 or 17.
16, 15, 16, 17, 18.
If you're on a farm, you start to learn to drive when you're 12.
12, yeah, well, that's the tractor and stuff like that. And you run it into a tree and then they don't.
The truck, you move the truck around.
Yeah, well, some of us got put on parole there. But 16 or so is when you're really exerting your independence. So driving and independence sort of go hand in hand, because when I can drive myself somewhere, once I'm out of my learner's permit, then I have a way to get where I want to go when I want to go there, or I have a way to get around authority figures. And if I don't do anything really drastic, I'm allowed to do that. And there's this process of becoming a driver that says you're competent. As long as you maintain a license, you're competent. And what is the signal that you have the power to go places? Lord, that is such a cute puppy. What's the visual that you have the power to go places?
Key.
The keys. The keys are the visual regard. When you have your keys, you can go. So what we have is someone who's feeling that where they are isn't where they want to be, need to be, should be. And they also are feeling, quite frankly, the place they are, they don't have the independence they want. And the other piece of that is when they want what they want, they're getting a lot of pushback. So they feel like somebody's pushing against them, so they start pushing harder. So what would be helpful is to know what the conversation sounds like, because I'm wondering how much it is finally that families say, fine, Dad, fine, let's get in the car, come on, let's go. But he's not getting to drive, he's just a passenger. And driving around, why is he not happy driving around, do you think? What do you best guess?
It's not his freedom.
He's not driving.
Yeah.
Someone else is driving. So even though he's in the vehicle, it's not the same. So they have his keys, they have him hostage in the car, which when we're describing verbal abuse in the car, I'm wondering how much it might sound like, well, it's my damn car. You people just think you can do anything. I should go where I want to go. This is bullshit. I don't understand why I can't drive. I'm a good driver. This is crap. This is ridiculous. You people think you know you can't drive. We're shit. This is not where I wanted to go. Get me out of this isn't it at all. This is ridiculous. I can't believe you I'm out of the car. Dad, don't get out. Don't tell me what to do. So finally, calming down, you run out of blood sugar. You burn all your fuel. And so we come back home sort of tired. And then I get back home and we start over again. So who's satisfied with this, do you think? Sounds like nobody. So let's try a different strategy. So Beth, or who else on here wants to role play with me? Who wants to try it? Beth, you want to do it? Catherine's asking questions. Okay, go ahead.
So I'm going to be the adult child.
Yeah. So give me my keys. I'm ready to get out of here.
Dad, you're looking for your keys.
Yes, I want my friggin' keys.
You want your dang keys. All right, you want to get out of here?
Yes, I've got places to go. I don't want to be here anymore. I've got to get out of here.
You got places to go. Hey, Dad, do you need to go somewhere to just go, or do you need to do something?
Oh, I need you guys to shut up. You're always around here. You never shut up.
You need us to shut up.
Give me my keys.
You want your keys. Hey, Dad, you're looking for
Yes.
your keys. So
Huh?
let's find these keys.
What?
You're looking for your keys.
Yes, I'm looking for my keys. You've hidden them or something.
Think they've been hit. Oh man, that is not okay. Let's find some keys. Let's find your keys.
Well, I need the car keys.
You need the car keys. Let's check them out, Dad. Where are they? We usually hang them up, don't we? Or is there somewhere
Well,
else?
somebody's put them somewhere because I always put them here.
Yeah, they're always right here, aren't they?
Yes,
This is ridiculous.
this is, see, that's what I'm saying.
That's
Well,
not
was it
okay.
you or your sister that did it?
They're clearly not here, are they?
No.
That should not happen. I am sorry.
Well, somebody's going to be sorry. Well, never mind. I'll just walk.
All right, let's go.
All right. So, Beth, what kind of skills did you try out there?
I definitely was trying the use of space and letting your eyes go. It was not about the connection with me. It was about what you wanted control of.
Right. So at this moment, my best guess is the person, the dad, is not happy with any family member right now. Because what he wants is he wants his life back. He wants his independence. He wants to not have dementia. And he's really having a hard time dealing with the limitations that have been placed upon him. And he views family as his jailers. And the keys are the keys to freedom. So he's basically arguing with his jailers that he shouldn't be serving a sentence. This is ridiculous. And if they're my keys, it's my car, so that I'm, not having more data. There's a high probability. It's a lot about territory and independence and control. So Beth was trying to give me some feedback that she doesn't have access to the keys right now. She's looking like I'm looking. But the problem is, where do I want to be? This is the real problem for Beth. Where do I want to be?
You don't want to be here.
Yeah, I don't want to be with her. I don't want to. And unfortunately, the driving doesn't solve the problem because she's still there. And the reality is, the frustrating part is he's more than likely not really safe to not have someone around. And in this time of COVID, our options are limited. Who's it going to be? And so what we have is a family member who's working really hard, but a person, a dad, who is, what they're doing is missing their freedom, and they feel trapped and betrayed by this whole thing. So we've got to figure out a way for them to have a sense of control and a sense of doing something that has value and purpose for them. So what are two things, Catherine? That's a question to try to get information on the question. What are two things that Dad historically has found valuable or important? What did he do that gave him a sense of value or purpose in his life? How did he help do something, whether it's help people, help a business, help the house, help the car? What has he done that has value that he could still possibly do? Because he needs a job. The man needs a job where he feels valued, because he has none. And he doesn't have a life that has value right now. He can't find value in being where he's at, doing what he's doing, and he's seeking value.
So Teepa, rather than my going along the lines of trying to figure out, is it something to do or somewhere to go?
Yeah.
I needed to have really been really much more proactive ahead of time and
Yeah.
thinking, what is it that Dad can do that doesn't involve me?
Yeah, or some job that you can get him invested in working on. I'm really curious, what is he spending his time doing other than wanting his car keys and to go somewhere? And I suspect his ability to do things independently has deteriorated. And he's requiring some supervision or guidance with a lot of care, which is what he's not liking. My curiosity is, how independent did he used to be?
I don't think we have that answer per se.
Yeah. And so those are the guys who, Dad, I know you got it. I know you want the keys. I know you want to go. I'm going to ask you for a huge favor. First, I could use some help. This workshop needs cleaning up and I'm not sure what to do with it. Take a look at
Of course you don't know what to do.
I know I don't. You've always been the one who did the workshop.
Well,
So-
then get out of here.
You want me out of here. I know. Dad, one question before I go.
Oh, for the love of Pete, what?
So this stuff over here, that's on this shelf.
Yeah.
This stuff over here.
Yeah.
Is it supposed to be up on the pegboard up there?
It's all the electrical stuff. Just get out of the way. Let me take care of it.
Okay. All right. I didn't think it was where it should be. So what I did is I took everything that was on the shelves and put them on the counter. So he has a job. I may take things like that need to be done, moved, something that like, I have all these cans. Can you put them up on the shelf for me before we go? Well, shit. I mean, he's going to complain the whole time. Dad, thank you. Oh my God. Thank you so much. That's exactly what was needed. It's called heavy work. People sometimes need heavy work to help organize them. And that thing that Rachel did with her mom, that sort of partnering, heavy work can be done also with objects. Heavy lifting, pushing, moving things, pushing furniture around can be helpful to basically organize a human brain. Because when a human brain has to do heavy work, how many women, because I see there's a lot of women on here, how many women, when you get pissed, when you're really pissed, you want to scrub or rub on things or clean something or push or shove something around? It's that cleaning bug. It's that cleaning and doing something. And what you'll find is by the time you're done, you've burnt your energy and you're actually in a better place. Some people call it spinal work. In occupational therapy, it's organizing. We're organizing the brain. That heavy work organizes the brain a bit and puts it in a better place. It's repetitive work too.
And it sounds like from this dad example, Teepa, you're talking about the difference between somebody that's going to do that alongside you versus somebody that doesn't want you around at all. And knowing that ahead of time, what mom did, what dad did, maybe helpful.
Were they a solo performer, or did they tell people how to do stuff, or did they show them, or did they work with somebody? Because if there's somebody who works with someone or can do the next step, so I hand you the box, you put the box on the shelf. I hand you the box, you put the box on the shelf. I hand you the box, you put the box on. Somebody who did more of a sequence with someone else, then I can hand you that. There you go. Good. Here you go. Yep. Good. You got it. And sometimes it's done silently, and sometimes here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go. So the only thing you're doing is commenting on the work, not on the relationship or chatting. It's not chit chat time. Women, on the other hand, may chit chat while they're doing it. Some of us won't. We're trying to get it done. Shut up. Do you want to get this done? You want to run your mouth, and you just take your cue from them. Get it done. All right. Well, are you just going to be there quiet? Oh my God. Whatever you want, Mom, whatever you want.
So Teepa, that leads me to transition maybe to something a little bit different. When someone doesn't have that social chit chat ability, we have with us, joining us today, Connie, whose husband has aphasia and is starting to not understand when she gives directions and she says, take off your shoes, and he takes off his shirt. And he went to look, she says he ran off to look for his son, but he couldn't tell her that's where he was going. So I don't know if you can address that. And she's here with us if she's willing to participate with you, okay. Connie.
I'm here.
Hey, Connie. So, hey, Connie.
Yes.
I want you to hear. So here, let me show you. Connie, we're gonna do that. Here, you do it. You. So what did I do before I said anything? What'd you watch me do?
You did it yourself.
I did it myself, and then I say here, and I tap it. So with the shirt, this would be, hey, Connie. Take your shirt right here. So really using visual cues, not verbal information for him.
Okay.
Because he doesn't get he got the verb.
Mhm.
He got the verb, but he couldn't find the noun. So take off your, and he thought shoes was it.
Right.
So if you do, take off your, at this point, you could still do take off your shirt and then look at his shirt and even take your hands and touch your shirt and then point to his.
Okay, because I have to touch, if I touch him,
No.
he's upset and he says, don't touch me.
Don't touch me. No, exactly. I didn't. What I did is I touch me and I point to them. Your shirt. Take off your shirt. Yeah, there you go. And then a thumbs up. Yeah, you got it. And now your pants. Push them down. Push them down. Nice. Excellent. You got it, sir. That's it exactly.
Okay, so that's how to effectively communicate with him.
Yeah.
Because it's very tough.
Hey, Connie. A drink? Yeah?
Yes. Okay.
Or no? Yeah. So this is where learning to communicate visually with him is really critical. You're at like that make or break point here. If you're not getting much better at your visual cueing, he will start to get incredibly frustrated with your assistance and will start, don't stop it, because he doesn't understand why you're doing what you're doing. To him, it makes him feel stupid that you're trying to put your hands, he's also very touch sensory driven. So what he likes, he wants, and what he doesn't like, he's gonna tend to overreact to. They're like, whoa, don't do that. And you surprise him a lot with touch because you say what you're gonna do, but then your hand comes out and you need to show him what you're gonna do.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, and that's really important when somebody has that aphasia. That is often the case with a frontotemporal dementia. That's often that language loss is so profound.
You and I met once, and I told you that he had a dural AVF, and
Yep.
he had surgery, and he came out of the surgery. We couldn't understand him at all.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's progressing. Some.
Some?
Sorry. I know he's progressing. I mean, it's progressing significantly. So the surgery sort of triggered this, but now we're moving into full-blown dementia. I mean, that was sort of the precipitating event.
Okay. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, that's good. One of the things that as you get better at using visuals, so I couldn't find you. I got so scared when I couldn't find you. Mm-hmm. You were looking. So getting really tuned in to storytelling with some words. But keep the words really little and the movement pattern slightly ahead of the words. So I always want to show a few seconds before I say, I'm going to have you write something, but not do the words first. And I'm going to have you write something and then show this, because it's too late then. His brain is now engaged in going to try to find the thing you said, and he's not as present. And that's what startles him when you do something then, because he's already trying to find words. He's still trying to find words.
He does try, but.
And it's not working. So it's really flustering for him.
Yeah,
And you.
Wait.
And
Okay,
you.
I got it. Thank you.
Good question, though. Good question. Cool. Rachel, have we got other ones from our Facebook one? Or we can go to folks in the room too, but I know we had several from the Facebook.
We did have several from the Facebook. Somebody asked about routines. Said routines are important. Could you discuss the difference between routines and being flexible?
So if you could, go ahead and do wave motions with your hands, everybody. Just do a wave motion. So when we talk about routines, what we want is a wave motion of active to inactive, active to inactive, active to inactive. And our goal is to have it in waves throughout the day. And what we want to do is have that highest wave when they have the best energy. So when they're at their best is when we want to think about trying to accomplish maybe the more challenging thing for them, whatever that challenging thing is. We typically don't want to pick when they're at their bottom to do something that is hard because it's not going to go well. But we also have to look at our own abilities. So we don't want to do something when we are under the gun for time. So when we're thinking of our routines, we need a routine that's going to work for both of us. Because if I am like, okay, I've got to get him up, I've got to get on a call by 8:30, so I have half an hour. So let me think. So how am I? That kind of routine is not a routine, it's a pressure cooker. So we don't want to put ourselves in pressure cookers. Instead, we want to think, okay, so what window of time do I think would be a good chunk to work on this? Now, early in the disease, we're talking about a rhythm that goes over a week. Like we can plan things out over a week and over a week. As the disease shortens people's abilities to keep up with things, we're talking about the rhythm of a day. It's just the rhythm of a day. And then it becomes the rhythm of the morning. And then it becomes the rhythm of an activity. So the activity is sort of like you take a bite, you take a drink. You take a bite, a drink. And then we pause to make sure the food is clearing the mouth. So these rhythms, these routines are getting smaller and smaller. Now, who still has to keep up with the big routine of what has to happen today? Us. The problem is we've got to hold on to the big routines. Like when was the last time that we washed hair? Or when was the last time that he took this medicine? Or when was the last time that this happened? How long has it been since? But the person living with dementia is struggling to keep up with the passage of time. And so their routines may feel really like, but there's a lot of downtime. And it's like, well, maybe they used everything that they had for the uptime and now they need some downtime. We don't want it to go on forever. And we're going to have to help them kick back into gear, into action again, because once they get down, it's hard for them to get going again. So our flexibility is in, usually this is when this happens, not today. Okay. Wonder what's going on here. All right, well, not today. I want to find out, okay, wonder what did this. And there are times when, do this with your hands. Let it go, just let it go. It was a bad day. Everybody is allowed to have a bad day. But if it starts to feel like we need a new rhythm, this routine is no longer working. I feel like I'm ready to tear my hair out or beat myself up. I'm losing my mind. When we're feeling like I can't do this anymore, then that's not the right routine, because it has to work for both of us. And that's, I think, often a missed piece. So the flexibility is, yes, I can flex my routine, but I can't allow myself to get to a breaking point. I've got to recognize, wow, I am really having a hard time being flexible about this. I think I might need some help looking for a new routine that might work better for all of us, because it may be, I need space, I need time away. And I'm not being ugly. I need time because we're two different people and I have different needs. I need to be more active because my active time is in the morning. His active time is in the afternoon. And I need stuff to do in the morning. I need to know he's safe doing what he's doing, but I need to go be active. This is not working for me. It's wearing me out because I never get that time I need. And I think that problem is that we look at the other person and we forget to look in the mirror at us and say, how am I doing? And it's easy to start off flexible and it's easy to lose flexibility when you're not getting your needs met. And so routines have to work for both partners. And all too often we let it go until I can't do it anymore. I'm just like, oh my gosh, if I just can't do this anymore. And the problem is we didn't have the right support in place for us to tolerate that, or it's just not a good match for us. Yeah. So it's an important question. There's a difference between a ritual and a routine that works and routines that don't. And dementia demands changing routines and some flexibility in there, but it's for both of us. We've both got to recognize I'm human. Yeah.
Teepa, I have someone who's with us. Pamela sent in an email a while back about her mom who is orally fixated. She says she is constantly putting anything in her mouth. First, it started with sucking on her fingers, but now she'll put anything that is in her reach, including licking on things. If I give her something to distract her, such as a magazine to look at, she will start chewing on the paper. This is Pamela, who is with us.
Hey, Pamela. So a question about your mom. Was she a smoker at any point in time? No. What, did she ever dip snuff or anything along that line that you know about?
I'm sorry, did she what?
Well, did she ever dip snuff?
No.
No, never. Was she a person who crunched ice?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so, yes.
So usually these folks, or chew gum, a lot of these folks were people who were always, they always got a lot of sensory pleasure from grinding or working their mouth. So there's something about their jaw that they enjoy things in the front or to the sides of their jaw that more than other body parts, this for them is a very sensory rich area. And they really, everything that they do is driven toward getting something in here. So for some people, it's picking around their lips and messing right around here. And they will actually pick skin and mess there. But for some people, it's nibbling or chewing on things. And for some people, it's not in the front, it's in the actual jaw. And what they're doing is our usual pattern is a rotary chewing, and they are grinding and grinding. So she's somewhere between the two where she gets great pleasure out of stuff in her mouth. She really does like it. And she's stimulating herself with that because very little around her. What's her vision like? Just out of curiosity.
Her last vision exam last year, it was good.
Yeah, so she can
see anything.
So she can see plenty of stuff, and anything she sees, she picks up. And then the very first thing she's going to do is check it out.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll work it. She will keep working it and working it and working it. So what we want to think about are things that she can put and chew on that are safe. And some of the places I'll often go for that. And it's actually a chewable necklace or things like that that you can hand her and she can have. that are less harmful to her teeth and her mouth. And you put them around so she can have them. And they're adult chewing devices. They're often for people with autism, because it turns out that older people, not mean teens and adults with autism, frequently have this tendency of oral activity. And it's a repetitive pattern. And so we want to give them things that they can grind and chew, and yet they won't come apart. They won't fall apart. They're not choking hazards, but they're pretty durable. And they're not latex, because people have latex problems. But it is something that we can look into. And there's a couple of catalogs, Habilitations and Abilities, I think, are 2 catalogs that are designed for adult people with autism. I can look them up and we can post that at some point. I have to look it up. It's my old OT background. But she clearly, and is she chewing on her fingers anymore? Is she harming her fingers now?
Her fingers, I mean, she's sucking so much they turn in colors.
Yeah, yeah. So giving her something to put in there so she's not harming her own hands might be helpful. And so putting them on a necklace and then having several that you can offer her might allow her to get her need met for doing that and not have her harm herself so much.
Okay.
Because it's, unless she's more able than I suspect she is, I don't think you're going to be able to get her engaged in other things. This is her one pleasure anymore, just about. And no matter what you've tried to get her to look at, you can try some other sensory, sometimes vibration. If you give her something that vibrates, like you can find those things sometimes at Walmart or Target or whatever, but you want to make sure it's very durable and can be placed in the mouth. You want whatever it is to be safe. So there are some, they have vibrating things that you can put in your mouth that they use for children who have hypersensitivity to get them to tolerate things that will allow you to put it in your mouth and not cause harm. And it's well protected. And you definitely have to have something that has some durability, because the batteries, of course, could be a risk if she's pretty active with her chewing. So depending on how active she is and biting down, because some people do grind and some people just nibble, and it's more the sucking. And liking that kind of thing. Yeah. But that's a really good question, Pam. It's hard to watch that if you've not been familiar with it before and you've tried lots of strategies. Typically, it's not been my experience with people who are really driven for that you find much else that will meet their needs. It's really a very primitive reflex that's coming out for her. Yeah.
Teepa, one of our people on the chat, she said jewelry, which is such a great thing. It was out of curiosity, even though it was in pack language. And so I looked it up, and sure enough, Leah, you were absolutely right. And I got the link for jewelry in there. It's part of the therapeutic group. Yeah.
Yep.
It's cool.
Yeah. Cool. Nice job. Thanks, Leah. All right. So we got anything else cooking, or if we solved everybody's questions for tonight?
Teepa, we've had some questions that have come in about someone being at home but not realizing it, and so they're pretty desperate to leave, and they think it's a dentist office, they think it's a like a Home Depot type place, and these people have tried just about everything and they're really out of ideas.
Okay, so those are interesting choices. So those are interesting, that my home is the dentist's office or my home is Home Depot. Now, for me, if my home was the dentist office, I would be devoted to leaving. Trust me, I have my least favorite place in the world to go is a dentist's office, because I have such a long history of bad teeth. I'm from West Virginia. We had no fluoride. I have awfully soft teeth. So I have, I think, a total of 27 root canals and a 5-part bridge, a 5-part bridge, a 4, and this is the second bridge for 5. I had to get a second one because the first one was in, anyway. So if I were talking about wanting to leave the dentist's office, boy, this place sucks. That's all I gotta tell you. It's wherever I'm at, man, I am devoted to not wanting to be here. Home Depot, though, that's a very interesting second choice. The dentist's office is, I can see the logic of it. I wonder, did the person ever work in a hardware store or something? Home Depot is an interesting.
I don't know. She just said that a hardware store.
Okay, so it
looks like a doctor's office or a hardware store.
It looks like a doctor's office or a hardware store. Yeah. Now, did you go to the doctor's office for something, or were you just surprised to be here? Would be where I'd start. Wow.
This is not my home. This is not this looks like a doctor's office. This is not my home. I gotta get out of here.
So Rachel, did you want to go to the doctor's office for
No,
something?
I don't want to go to the doctor's office. I want to go home. This is not
You want
home.
to get out of here. Yeah. So you're heading home, not at a doctor's office. This is craziness.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what this is. And they keep telling me that this is my home. This is not
Oh,
my
well,
home.
yeah, no, this clearly, I mean, you look around, you can tell this is not where you stay. This is never someplace you would want to stay.
No.
It's someplace you've been before, but is not where you stay.
Well, they keep telling me it's home. This is not home.
Yeah, I
It
got
looks
you.
like
This
a
is not
hardware
home.
store.
No, but have you ever, does it look at all familiar? It sounds like it looks sort of familiar, but not a place you'd want to stay.
Well, it looks like a store or
Looks
an
like
office or
a
something.
store or an office or something. Well, that's not okay. So you need to get home.
I need to go home. Will you take me home? I
You
gotta
want
go.
to get out of here and get home. Now, was there something at home you needed, or you just want to get out of here?
Well, I need to go home. I need to go there.
You need to get there, and we
And I
need to get out of
this
here and go
place.
there. All right. Well, Rachel, let's get out of here.
We
Let's
take me
go.
home?
Let's get out.
And you take me home?
You're wanting to get home.
I want to go
I
home.
can tell you for sure we need to get out of here. If this is not where you belong, this is not where you want to be. Let's get out.
Well, let's get out, but I want to go
Yeah.
home.
I know you do. I know you do. Let's get out of here first. Let's
Okay,
just get
let's
out of
go.
here.
Let's get out of here.
Okay, now this is a little different than the people who are basically starting off with, I want to go home, I need to go home. What this person is announcing up front very clearly, where I am is not a home at all. It's not even not my home. It is an office or it is a store. So in either of those cases, there is no way they're going to agree to stay at an office or a store. So the primary focus here is they need to get out of where we are. We need to leave this place. Because until we leave this place and the hippocampus can say, this place that I'm at, I'm getting out of this place. And we turn around and we may go a block or two. When we come back, we go around. And the plan is to do a circuit, not a out and back, but an around. So it's not a from here to there and back. It's from here out, around, and look. Let's check and see if we can stay here. This may not be your home, but at least it's a house. Because I know you didn't want to stay in the office or that store or whatever it was. So I got us to here because I don't know that I can get you to your house tonight, but at least this is a house that we can stay in. I've made arrangements to stay here. So what was different about that, Beth? What was a different focus than what we often do with this?
And that's to Beth, me, not the other Beth.
You, Beth, you. Yes, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Were you doing something with Beth?
There was another Beth I was going to chat with, but no,
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to distract you.
No. That's totally good. So this is more of looking at the differences of what the person is actually meaning. Is that what you're talking about in terms of?
Yes, because what they were describing is this is not a home, it's an office or it's a hardware store. So what their hippocampal area is telling them is what about this space they're in?
This is not familiar to me.
It is sort of, but it is a place where you live.
Yeah.
It's a place you go, and then you go from that place to a place you live. So what did I set it up to do?
Well, you put me, well, or Rachel in that case, to a place that is clearly not a home at all. And it's not a store. You took me out and around. And then we came back to something that, you know, does look a little bit like a home.
Right?
And you're not saying to me, this is it, Beth.
No.
It's, let's just try to see if maybe this feels a little bit more
Well, at least it's a house.
House.
It's not an office and it's not a store, because the two descriptors that we were given is those are transition places. Those are not places you stay. You go and then you go somewhere else. You go there for a purpose, and when that purpose is done, you get to go home. And so by them saying it's an office or it's a store, I doubt that I am going to be able to convince them that it is not only not an office or not a store, it is a home and you should stay here. I am highly doubtful. I am so doubtful that I think my better chance is to say, let's get out of this place and let's go. Now, Rachel tried to get me to say I was going to take her home. And I said, I'm going to get you out of here. I'm going to get you out of here, because here is not a home. And then when we walk around, this is a house. I've made arrangements for this house. I'm being very careful not to use the word what?
Home.
Because it's not home, but it is a house. I'm getting you closer to a house, not a home. Because I'm not going to try to sell you that this is your home, but if I could get you to accept it's a house and I've made arrangements for tonight. You can stay in houses that aren't yours if arrangements get made. You're not going to stay long and you're not a happy person about it. But you'll stay in a house, but you're not going to stay in a store or a dentist's office or a doctor's office. That doesn't make any sense. So I've got to create a space, help you accept a space as a space to stay in. Otherwise, you have a very high risk of elopement.
Yeah, Teepa, I've also seen this work with people who are very fearful of where they're at. So whether it's their whatever they're seeing that is not what they need or want at that moment, by going out and about and not negating. There was a woman that I was working with a huge history of trauma. The mob had come in the 1930s and killed her brother and father, and that was a known history in their house.
Wow.
And so at night, she was very fearful that this house was not safe. And so we'd actually have to go and find a safer house. Let's go and find a safer house. And it wasn't a home because she couldn't stay at her home.
She couldn't stay home
every night.
Because in our mind, home is always a safe place. But for some people, their trauma history is involved, their home is involved in their trauma history. And so for them, being at home becomes, especially at night or in evening, it can become an incredible, scary place. And it's really, really frightening. Really, really, because she's going to get me. And it could be my mother was abusive. It could be my sister did something. And some children were not raised in their own home. They were raised in foster care. So when somebody develops dementia later in their life, there are many parts of their story we may never know because they always kept them private. And the people who would have known the private are long gone. And so we're working blind. And what we have is the pieces that they can give us in the broken story, but it's often a broken story that I'm trying to figure out. So being willing to travel with somebody on their journey as they're trying to describe their story with limitations in words is really important. So I'm glad you said something to me. I did not realize that this was an office. I wasn't paying attention, I guess. Is a lot better than this is not an office. Why do you keep saying this is an office? Dad, this is our house. It's so tempting because it is your house and he built it and you grew up here. But in this moment, it's not working. And being willing to let go of what's not working, you got to let go of it. And it's one of the hardest things to get yourself to do sometimes because it's just, but. So, Carrie, what else do we got? Or I think Matthew's out there doing stuff too. Carolyn?
I have a good one that actually Carrie and I agreed maybe we should look at.
Okay.
It came in as an email from Maureen, who is with us. And she says, can you speak to a person living with Parkinson's related dementia, frightful dreams associated with the dementia, and the best approach?
Okay.
And I've been talking to her a little bit, and I'm wondering, it says she had, her diagnosis was Parkinson's with dementia. I don't know about the dreams, but is there an element maybe of Lewy body I don't know, but that's my
so, yeah,
thought.
I mean, we know that now the way we describe Lewy body conditions is they might have started with the more of the psychiatric type things, or they might have started more with the mobility. If you start more with mobility things, then it tends to be a Parkinsonian related dementia as it develops. If instead you're having delusional thinking, visual disturbances and hallucinations, nighttime wakefulness where dreams seem real, or problems with sleep, insomnia that goes on for periods of time, and problems, maybe some problems with intention tremor, but less problems with classic tardive dyskinesia, or excuse me, bradykinesia, where you have problems with movement and freezing and cogwheel rigidity. So Maureen, so just descriptor wise, did it start more with mobility problems or start more with thinking, visual disturbance problems?
I'm not really sure. She's new to us.
Okay.
But the nightmares that she's having, she wakes up in the middle of the night and then she's, trying to get out of bed. She falls, fairly independent. She's probably emerald.
Okay. Okay.
But
So
even if she's,
a little bit.
even if she's during the day, if she naps, all of a sudden she wakes up in a fright. Like,
yeah. So what happens, whether it's Parkinsonian related or whether it is Lewy body, people who have either one of those conditions, in Lewy body, it's almost 50% will not be able to get into REM sleep. That's a true REM sleep. Now, REM sleep is when you have your vivid dreams. And what your brain does is it immobilizes your body. You are paralyzed when you do these dreams. So it's that rapid eye movement. It's like you are not able to move and you have these really crazy dreams where all kinds of bizarre stuff happens. And then you come out of that dream state. And some of us have gone, you wake up and you take that deep breath and you thumping of your heart and you suddenly realize, oh my God, wow, it was a dream. People with this condition do not realize it's a dream when they wake up. They think it's a real thing that just is happening. So it doesn't stop and they don't actually get into a good REM sleep. So they're moving and suddenly they're moving and they're fighting a demon, or they're throwing something to try to keep the monster at bay, or the person is trying to rape them and they're trying to fight them off. And it's truly their brain tricking them into believing that what it should have been a dream is in fact action. And so when she wakes up, she'll either be angry, scared, sad, a real emotional reaction. And the person believes that that you did that to me. So can you be her for just a little bit? Can you sort of,
today she fell asleep today, and all of a sudden she's very peaceful, and then she started.
Yeah, and so
don't touch,
Maureen. We shouldn't touch. Nobody should touch. No touching. Wow, that was a lot. Oh my heavens. Wow, that was scary, Maureen. That was so scary. Somebody was touching. Wow. I hate that. Whoa.
That's scary. That scares me. That scares me.
Hey. And I want to see if she'll let me do hand under hand. And if she will, then I'll pump and I'll go,
She did allow me to do hand under hand today with her.
I suspect if you did, you won't want to, but if you did an O2 sat on her right then, it would be depleted. Because what happened is the dream was so vivid, she actually stopped breathing.
And she tends to then go into herself. Like, yes. Exactly.
Because what she's actually done is with that head movement, she may very well be cutting off her airway. That forward motion of your head, if you do it far enough down, for some people, it can actually cause their epiglottal area to cover that airway. When you do this, you tip it so that it's always open. When you're down like this, you can, if you have a slightly thicker epiglottal area or the muscles in your neck are thickened, you can actually cover your airway. And so she depleted her airway. And that nightmare is your brain's effort to try it one last ditch, get you awake so you don't die. And it really does. There's that, your brain feels like it was a death threat. That's how close to death you felt. It's inaccurate. It's your brain trying desperately to wake you up. It's a form of sleep apnea for some people. So it may be a sleep apneic kind of phenomena where she curls in deep and down. And when she does that, that actually increases the risk that she is getting O2 drops. That is causing her brain to freak out. So looking at maybe seeing if you can help her position when she's getting drifty or ready to nap a little, perhaps to see if there's something you can do to position so that she's more likely to be able to keep that head upright or back a little bit. Bring her hips forward and tilt her back a little if she'll tolerate it.
Okay.
So she's less likely to have that head falling forward into that full flexion of the neck.
Okay.
Would be a way to try, but then bringing her out of it is also helpful. The deep breathing is going to be real important, more than likely. And that's regardless of which it is. Because if it's that REM sleep thing, often people get O2 desaturated just because of the anxiety. Their anxiety goes up so fast and so high, and their heart rate is really quick. Some people can actually go into atrial fib.
Teepa, I'm hearing your OT come out in this. Is this worthy potentially of a PCP, a general practitioner visit, and an OT consult, a therapist?
It might very well be, because if this is a relatively new thing for her, or it's been a pattern of a long time, it still might at least maybe see whether or not her brain and she can tolerate a pulse oximeter and just see if you're noticing anything.
We can try that, and she is working with the OTs already, so I can circle back with them and, you know, share what we talked about.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth at least an explore, because we wouldn't want to miss something like an O2 drop that's pretty significant. And it could just simply be her Parkinsonian dementia acting up and not being able to get her into REM sleep. But there's always that potential with the positioning that it's aggravating it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, no, good question.
Teepa,
Well, yeah.
somebody on YouTube had asked if CPAP is something that you would explore with somebody with Lewy body.
Ooh.
Yeah, right.
Yikes. So the problem with CPAP is it's very sensory. Like you have to really have it covered. There are some machines that are not that way. I have actually had many people with Lewy body. I can't do it. I mean, they can try it, and they can't. They can't make it through a sleep cycle at all. They can't even relax enough to get to sleep. It panics them, because that closed up feeling, it just feels like somebody's smothering you rather than allowing you to breathe. It just works against everything in that Lewy body brain. So it's possible to do it early in the disease. By mid-disease, I have not seen very many people successful with using CPAPs with Lewy body. It's just the sensory driven. I can't, no, they're trying, it's just an overwhelming fear of being smothered somehow with this device that's meant for nothing but trying to make it easier for you to breathe. It's just getting coordinated and organized. So it's possible, not probable. In my experience, it's a battle. And finally you just say, I'm just making it worse. This is just worse. So looking at positioning in other ways, and not being so committed to that CPAP. That's that routine where you go, you know what, this isn't working anymore. I mean, as much as it might be helpful, it's just not. It's creating so much distress.
Okay. I put our link to the consult services in our chat and out on YouTube. And
those are free, by the way. They're free. We're not asking for it. We have some really nice, wonderful people in the world who help fund that, and we're always very supportive of that. We have this free. We have the mornings we're doing at 8. I'm doing 8. We have a group that does 5. We have a new group for the PAC community, certified community, that's going to be starting some activity on Facebook too. And next Tuesday evening, we're pulling together folks who might be interested in a roundtable talking about compromise, trying to figure out how we can get people in residential care, families who have people in residential care, and staff and personnel who are in residential care, sharing a message out and up that says what you guys have designed is not working for COVID, and we need to do something different. And we are committed to working on something different, because what you're doing is not helping people, it's harming people. So let's get to the drawing board and let's do something that makes sense for people living with dementia who need help and care. They don't need to be isolated anymore. It's not working. So for those of you who have other questions, get up with us on our various platforms. Again, please feel free to join us in other ways. We're here to support, we're here to help, and thank you for what you do all the time. And thanks for being here tonight and reaching out and asking questions. So appreciative of everyone. So thanks, everybody. Take care, be well. Thanks to our team. Take care, everyone. See you next time.